We are living in the age of information. At any given moment, you hold in your hand a device that gives you access to more knowledge than was contained in all the libraries of the ancient world. We can get a university degree online, watch lectures from Nobel laureates, and access the news from every corner of the globe in real time. We are, by any historical measure, the most informed and knowledgeable generation to have ever lived. And yet, we are also racked with anxiety. We feel more powerless, more overwhelmed, and less in control than ever before. We are constantly reacting to the 24-hour news cycle, the volatile stock market, the endless scroll of social media, the opinions of strangers. We have access to all this information, but it doesn't seem to be making us freer. In fact, it often feels like it's imprisoning us. This presents a paradox. If knowledge is power, why do we feel so powerless? What if we are focused on the wrong kind of knowledge? What if the most important education has nothing to do with what's on the news and everything to do with the operating system of our own minds? The Stoic philosopher Epictetus believed this was the key. He issued a provocative challenge, a statement that cuts right through our modern confusion. He said that only the educated are free. What could he possibly mean by that? He wasn't talking about formal schooling or university degrees. To understand the radical definition of education that Epictetus is proposing, we must first understand the single, foundational lesson that forms the entire curriculum of the Stoic school of life. This is the starting point for all wisdom. As he famously taught, happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. This idea, often called the dichotomy of control, is the master key to the Stoic system. It is a simple but not easy tool for sorting the entire universe into two distinct buckets. In the first bucket are the things that are not within our control. This is a vast category. It includes essentially everything external to our own mind. Your body, for example. You can influence it, but you don't ultimately control it. It gets sick. It ages. It gets injured. Your reputation is not in your control. It exists in the minds of others. Your wealth is not in your control. The economy can change. Fortunes can be lost. The actions of other people, your boss, your partner, your children, are not in your control. The past is certainly not in your control, and the final outcome of the future is not in your control. In the second, much smaller, but infinitely more important bucket are the things that are within our control. Epictetus defines this category with absolute precision. It includes our judgments, our intentions, our desires, and our aversions. In modern terms, it is our mindset, our choices, and the effort we decide to put in. It is our character. This is the only domain in the entire universe where we are the absolute sovereign. According to Epictetus, the entire drama of human suffering can be boiled down to a simple, tragic error. We spend our lives trying to control the things in the first bucket while completely neglecting the things in the second. The uneducated person, in the Stoic sense, is the one who stakes their peace of mind on things they cannot command. Think of the anxiety of posting on social media. The uneducated person creates something and posts it. Then, their tranquility is held hostage by the uncontrollable outcome. How many likes will it get? What will people comment? Will the algorithm favor it? Their happiness is outsourced to 1,000 external variables. The educated person, the Stoic student, understands the division. They focus their energy entirely on what is in their control, creating the best, most honest work they are capable of. They put it out into the world, and then they immediately return their focus to their own domain, their next project, their next action. The external reception is in the other bucket, and they have trained themselves not to disturb their peace over things they do not command. This brings us back to that first provocative statement. Only the educated are free. Now we can understand it. Epictetus is saying that a person who has not learned to distinguish between what they can and cannot control is, by definition, a slave. They are a slave to circumstance. If the weather is good, they are happy. If the weather is bad, they are sad. If their boss praises them, they are confident. If their boss criticizes them, they are crushed. If their investments go up, they are ecstatic. If their investments go down, they are in despair. Their inner life is a chaotic puppet show, and the strings are being pulled by everything and everyone but them. The educated person, on the other hand, is the one who has deeply, profoundly internalized this one principle. Stoic education is not about accumulating information. It's about undergoing a fundamental transformation of perspective. It is about training the mind, day after day, until this sorting process becomes an automatic reflex. This is the only education that leads to freedom, because it is the only education that untethers your well-being from the chaotic and unpredictable nature of the external world. The Greek philosopher Plato gave us a perfect metaphor for this kind of education in his famous allegory of the cave. He described prisoners chained in a cave, forced to watch shadows flicker on a wall. They believe these shadows are the entirety of reality. They get angry, happy, and afraid, based on the dance of these flickering, uncontrollable images. These prisoners are the uneducated. They are slaves to appearances, to externals. The philosopher, in Plato's allegory, is the one who breaks free from the chains, climbs out of the cave, and sees the real world, the sun, the source of the shadows. This person is educated. They understand the true nature of things. When they return to the cave, the shadows no longer have the same power over them. They can't be fooled into believing that the flickering images are the most important things in the world. This is a perfect description of the Stoic. The educated Stoic is the one who has climbed out of the cave and understood that public opinion, wealth, and health are just shadows. The only true reality that matters is the state of their own soul, their own will, which is in their control. There is no more powerful real-world example of this than the story of James Stockdale, the American fighter pilot who was held as a prisoner of war in Vietnam for over 7 years. He was in a literal cave. His captors controlled every aspect of his external world. They controlled his body through torture. They controlled his environment through solitary confinement. They controlled his reputation by trying to use him for propaganda. By all external measures, he was the least free person imaginable. But Stockdale was not an uneducated man. Before he was a pilot, he had studied philosophy at Stanford. His teacher had introduced him to the Enchiridion of Epictetus. In that prison camp, his formal schooling was useless, but his Stoic education was everything. He knew that his captors controlled the shadows on the wall, the pain, the isolation, the fear. But he also knew, from Epictetus, that they could not control his inner self, his will, his character. He focused exclusively on the one thing he could control, his response. He chose not to betray his fellow prisoners. He chose to maintain his integrity. He chose to lead with courage. He was, in the truest sense of the word, an educated man, and therefore he was a free man in a prison, while his captors were slaves to their own cruelty and anger. So how do we pursue this education? How do we practice this liberating philosophy in our own, less extreme lives? The first practice is to perform a constant mental triage. Throughout your day, as events happen, make a habit of pausing and sorting them into the 2 buckets. Before you get angry about being stuck in traffic, ask, is this traffic in my control? The answer is no. Therefore, my job is not to rage, but to practice the virtue of patience. Before you feel anxious about a presentation tomorrow, ask, is the final outcome of the presentation in my control? No. What is in my control? The quality of my preparation. So, I will turn my attention away from worrying about the outcome and toward the work of preparing. This constant sorting is the fundamental exercise of the Stoic student. The second practice is to curate your curriculum. If you want to be educated in the art of living, you must be incredibly deliberate about what you feed your mind. Are you spending your mornings consuming news media that is scientifically designed to make you outraged and anxious about things you have zero control over? Or are you spending that time reading the words of the Stoics, of great thinkers who strengthen your mind and return your focus to what you do control? Your education is a product of your inputs. Choose your teachers wisely. Ultimately, the lesson is that we have been looking for freedom in all the wrong places. We seek it in more money, in a better job, in a different political leader, in the approval of others. These are all external. Epictetus teaches that this is a fool's errand. True, unshakable freedom is an inside job. It is not something you are given. It is something you earn, and you earn it through the difficult, lifelong work of educating yourself. So let's return to the paradox we started with. We are drowning in information, yet we feel powerless. The Stoic path out of this trap is not more information, but a different kind of education. It is an education in the art of living. And the curriculum for that education begins with one foundational principle. Happiness and freedom begin with a clear understanding of one principle. Some things are within our control, and some things are not. And the graduation from that curriculum, the prize you earn for a lifetime of study, is the ultimate truth that only the educated are free. That is the path to building your inner citadel. Thank you for joining us today. If this video helped you start your own education in the art of living, like this video and subscribe for more tools to build a resilient mind. We'll see you next time.